The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF Canada and Invigor Hybrid Canola.
Hey, Kara Oosterhuis here with RealAgriculture.com. I am back here today with another Canola School episode, and I have here with me Keith Gabert, who's an agronomy specialist with the Canola Council of Canada. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So we're here today to talk about pre-harvest intervals, or PHIs. It's that time of the year we're starting to think about swath timing, harvest timing, all of that. And as it has been we've been seeing lots of insects this year, we especially want to pay attention to those labels. What do you want to tell me about that?
PHI, or pre-harvest interval, is a really important concept for producers to understand, and it's actually a really easy concept to use. And the labels are really specific about the number of days between the time you apply a product and the time that you're allowed to cut it, swath it or combine it. Doesn't matter. When you cut it, it's the pre-harvest interval to the time that you've ceased growth on that crop. So pre-harvest intervals are important for products like insecticides that you might apply late in the season, or for harvest aids that you might apply as part of the dry down process, or maybe pre-harvest weed control. So the insecticides pre-harvest intervals range from 28 days to 1 day for products that we might use in a canola crop. Any harvest aids generally tend to be a lot less than that, but it's really specific to each product. So it's important that growers understand the number of days that they're required to wait before they do another operation in their field, like harvest, on those products. Lots of places you can get the information. The product label, read and follow label directions, is a really good message for growers to understand. The Canola Council has a spray to swath tool on our website, so you can go in, type in the product name, and it'll tell you the number of days that you're required to wait. But wherever you get your information, as long as it's a reliable source, that's the important thing that growers need to know.
So why is this important? Why do we really need to pay attention?
Right. So pre-harvest interval is important because the registrant of that product has done the work to prove that the residue from that product will have either dissipated or been reduced to negligible or levels that are considered safe for the consumer. And while you might consider yourself a canola grower, really you're a canola meal grower, you're a canola oil grower, you're providing food for people all around the world. We want to make sure that that food is safe, healthy, nutritious, and meets any of the core requirements for the products that you've used on that product while you're growing it.
So what about staging? You know, you're walking across your crop, and why do you want to pay attention to staging when it comes to these PHIs?
Right. So for things like glyphosate, one of the challenges is to make sure that your crop is uniformly mature and that you're actually far enough along in maturity. So rather than be specific, make sure that you understand what crop you're doing and what the stage is that's required. So 30% moisture comes to mind for most of the crops, but look for what stage is required before you're allowed to apply the product, and understand that the whole field needs to be at that moisture or drier before you apply the product, as a further aid to make sure that harvest is successful.
So what factors go into staging this crop or knowing what you're going to do with it?
Seed color change and seed moisture can be quite different, but regardless, you're going to need to open those pods, take a look, see if they're really firm, how far are they along on the process. If you're going to use glyphosate as a dry down product, or at least to try to make that crop dead and perhaps a little easier to manage several weeks down the road, you want to look for 30% seed moisture, which is quite different than seed color change. So you're going to need to sort of get a handle on where your crop's at. If you're swathing, we're going to recommend 60% seed color change. But in a variable crop, you're going to have to go through the whole crop and roll some of those seeds and decide where is the majority of the yield and is it at the right stage to swath. Same process applies if you're using glyphosate. You're looking for 30% seed moisture or less, and you're really going to have to look for the greenest parts of that field to be mature enough to allow glyphosate use. 30% seed moisture then ensures that the residue that might remain from a glyphosate application as part of your harvest management keeps that as a saleable commodity into the world market.